If I Ran the Circus by Dr. Seuss. If I Ran the Circus by Dr. Seuss. In the whole town, the most wonderful spot is behind the Sneak Lock store in the big vacant lot. It's just the right spot for my wonderful plans, said young Morris McGurk, if I clean up the cans. Now, a fellow like me, said young Morris McGurk, could get rid of this junk. With a half-hour's work, I could yank up those weeds and chop down the dead tree and haul off those old cars. There are just 2 or 3, and then the whole place would be ready, you see. All ready to put up tents for my circus. I think I will call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the world's greatest show on the face of the earth or wherever you go. The Circus McGurkus, the cream of the cream. The Circus McGurkus, the circus supreme. The Circus McGurkus, colossal, stupendous, astounding, fantastic, terrific, tremendous. I'll bring in acrobats, jugglers, and clowns from 1,033 faraway towns. To the place you'll see 'em, ladies and gents, right behind Sneak Lock's door, the great McGurk tent. And I don't suppose old Sneak Lock will mind when he suddenly has a big circus behind. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends. He might even help out during small odds and ends. Doing little odd jobs, he could be of some aid, such as selling balloons and pink lemonade. I think 500 gallons will be about right, and then I'll be ready for opening night. What an opening night! What a night! What a sight! I'll hoist up the curtains, the crowd will crowd in, and my Circus McGurkus will promptly begin with a welcoming toot on my welcoming horn, and by my horn-tooting ape from the jungles of Jorn, where the very best horn-tooting apes are all born, 'cause the very fresh air there is fine in their lungs, and some of those fellows have 2 or 3 tongues. This way, step right in. This way, ladies and gents. My show starts here, in the first of my tents. When you see what goes on, you'll say no circus is half the great circus the Circus McGurkus is. Here on stage 1, from the ocean of Ulf, is a sight most amazing! A walrus named Rolf, who can stand on 1 whisker, this wonderful Rolf, on top of 5 balls. 2 for tennis, 3 golf. It's a marvelous trick, if I say so myself. And on stage number 2, here is something quite new. From a country called From comes this drum-tummied snum, who can drum any tune that you might care to hum. Doesn't it hurt him a bit, 'cause his drum-tummy's numb? And now you'll meet the Foon, the remarkable Foon, who eats sizzling hot pebbles that fall off the moon. And the reason he likes them red hot, it appears, is that he greatly enjoys blowing smoke from his ears. Of course, pebbles like this are quite hard to collect, but Sneelock will manage somehow, I expect. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends, and I'm sure he'll help out doing small odds and ends. And on stage number 4, see Wally Waloo, who can throw his long tail as a sort of lasso. With a flip of his hip, with a tail of this kind, he can capture whoever is standing behind. He can capture old Sneelock. I'm sure he won't mind. And now, here is a hoodwink, who winks in his wink hood. Without a good wink hood, a hoodwink can't wink good. And folks, let me tell you, there's only one circus the wink-hooded hoodwinks, the Circus McGurkus. A show of all shows. There's no other showman who shows you a show with a blindfolded bowman. The blindfolded bowman from Bigger Barroot, the world's sharpest sharpshooter. Look at him shoot through the holes in 4 donuts, 2 hairs on a worm, and the knees of 3 birds without making them squirm. And then on through a crab apple, up on the end of Sneelock, who likes to help out, as I've said. And now come to this spot where the spotlight is hot, and you'll see in the spotlight a juggling jot who can juggle some stuff you might think he could not, such as 22 question marks, which is a lot, also 44 commas, and also 1 dot. That's the kind of Circus McGurkus I've got. But that's just my sideshow, a start, a beginning. This way to the big tent, you'll find your head spinning. Why, ladies and gentlemen, youngsters and oldsters, your heads will quite likely spin right off your shoulders. So hurry, step lively, quick, ladies and gents, and get into your seats. In my tent of all tents, my parade of parades is about to commence. You'll see Drum Major Sneelock fling-flang his baton, and my organ McGurkus, come on! With its hot steaming pipes of gold brass-plated tin, snorting all sorts of snorts in a bumbling din. At this super, stupendous, 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 and when I play Dixie, please join in the chorus. Thin, a fluff, muffled truffle will ride on a huffle, and next in the line, Flummox will shuffle. The Flummox will carry a lurch in a pail, and a Fibble will carry the Flummox's tail, while on top of the Flummox 3 harp twanging snarp will twang mighty twangs on their 3-snopper harp, while Bolster blows bloops on the 3-nozzled blueser, a Nolster blows floops on the 1-nozzled snoozer. And then comes a lion who's partly a trout, then more stuff for 45 minutes about. And then, behind them, while everyone stares, come my to and fro marchers, who march in 5 layers. The fro march on 2s, and the 2s march on fros. Don't know how they do it, but that's how it goes. And now comes an act of enormous. No former pretenders performed this performance. This stunt is too gripply, slippery, frightening, down from the top of my tent like greased lightning. Through pots full of lots of big stickle bush trees slides a man, what a man, on his roller skis, and he'll steer without fear, and you'll know at a glance that it's Sneelock the man who takes chance after chance, and he won't even rip a small hole in his pants. And now here, in this cage, is a beast most ferocious, who's known far and wide as the Spotted Atrocious, who growls howls and yowls the most blood-curdling sounds, and each tooth in his mouth weighs at least 60 pounds, and he chews up, and he eats with the greatest of ease things like carpets, and sidewalks, and people, and trees. But the great Colonel Sneelock is just the right kind of a man who can tame him. I'm sure he won't mind. Then I'll let Sneelock off for a few minutes' rest, while high over your heads you will see the best of the world's finest, fanciest, breezy, trapeze, my Zoom-a-Zoom troop from West Upper Bendeezy, who never quite know while they zoom up and they zoom, whether which catch what one, or what will catch whom, or if who will catch which, by the what, and just where, or just when, and just how, which part in the air. What a circus! My circus McGurkus, my workers, my love work. They say, work us, please work us, we'll work up so many surprises you'd never see half if you had 40 eyes. And now, again, Sneelock, brave Sneelock is back, risking life on my painted, life-risking track, while the speedsters I call my colliding Calusas race around in swift cars called abrasion contusions, and Sneelock just lies there, not one bit excited. I know he won't mind. He'll be simply delighted. And here, in a contest of brute strength and muscle, Kid Sneelock, my champ of all champs, will now tussle and wrestle a beast called the Grizzly Ghastly, and slap him around. He'll slam him down fastly, and pin both his shoulders tight flat to the mat. Kid Sneelock will love it, I'm sure about that. And while that goes on there, look at this go on here. Have you heard of my herd of through horns jumping deer? Every deer jumps through the horns of another pell-mell, while his horns are jumped through at the same time as well, by a deer whose horns also are being jumped through, by another who's having his horns jumped through too, which I'm sure Trainer Sneelock can train them to do. And this whole tent will ring with hoorays and wild shouts when I wheel my whales, and they turn on their spouts. First, my whale number 1 will aim with that aims true, spouts a spout that spouts Sneelock to whale number 2, and then whale number 2 spouts his spout like a gun, and that spouts old Sneelock's right back to whale 1. And then forwards and backwards, on spout after spout, my great spout rider Sneelock gets spouted about, just as long as the water they're spouting holds out. Then my tournament knights, noble apes without fears, Sir Hector, Sir Vector, Sir Bops, and Sir Beers, Sir Hawken, Sir Darken, Sir Jocks, and Sir Jeers, clatter into a tent, and while everyone cheers, stage rout about joust, while their boxing gloves spears. And while all this wild ruckusing goes on below, at the top of a tent, look, the star of my show, great daredevil Sneelock, the world's bravest type. He comes pulled through the air by 3 Soubrian snipe, on a dingus contraption attached to his pipe. And while people below are all turning chalk white, all biting their fingernails off with their fright, the great Sneelock soars up to a terrible height. Then he shakes himself loose, he starts down in a dive, such as no man on earth who could come out alive, and he smiles as he falls, and no fear does he feel. His nerves are like iron, his muscles like steel. He plunges down, down, with his hair still combed neat, 4,692 feet. Then he'll land in a fishbowl. He'll manage just fine. Don't ask how we'll manage. That's his job, not mine. Why, he'll be a hero. Of course he won't mind when he finds out he has a big circus behind. Stupendous. The end of If I Ran the Circus by Dr. Seuss.